Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been a few days since I put a video out, so let's talk about what's going on with the crypto price. So, this was kind of the idea before. This was a screenshot 3 or 4 days ago. Basically, looking at this wave here to be corrected, and that's what we've been in since the end of September. Most people thought, okay, September is going to be a down month, and it ended up being an up month. And then October is supposed to be Uptober, but it ended up being a down month, right? So, well, actually, in my opinion, I think it's more Sidetober than anything. But remember, October just started, right? I mean, I wouldn't say it just started, but we're what is it, October 12th? So we still got some time for a big move to occur relative to what we got in September. So going back in time, we were talking about this being some type of ABC. So now we were up here. So now let's go back and look at the current price. So here we go. So here's the current price. And remember, we left off right here. So we got it. We got our A, B, C. I mean, it appears that we got it, right? I mean, that was the look. And basically I said, I want to see us come back down and retest this area. And that's exactly what happened. So that's good. That's exactly what we wanted. That's exactly what we got. So now what? Well, does that mean this three-wave move is over? I mean, technically no, because you still need to get through the retracement levels, right? So if I put this retracement on, I mean, we're sort of right in the golden zone between the 50 and the 618. So this is a very challenging area, but I'm going to show you this wave right here. I'm going to zoom in on this because to me that looks like an impulse. I mean, look at this impulse, right? When you compare it to like these little impulses, right? It's right in line with these waves in here as far as, the same degree. So that's good. It tells me that this could be a wave one, okay? Which means what? Well, if I zoom in to like, let's say the 30-minute chart, now it becomes a little bit more clear. I can see 5 waves. I could see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have a diag for wave 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. So what do we look for after that? Well, we want to see an A, B, C. Probably get us back down to this area. And then we want to see that big wave 3 get initiated, the wave 3 of 3, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. That's what I'm thinking. That's where my mind is at. Let's see if it plays out. Now, could this get more complex? Absolutely. And let me show you what I mean by that. So right now, we have this 3-wave move to the downside, right? And remember, the last video I did, we were right here, and we were calling for that C wave. Okay, we got it. So does that mean it's over? Well, again, not necessarily. What could happen here? Well, things can get more complex. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's an option. Meaning what? Well, if we had 3 down, what do you think comes next? 3 up, right? We can go 3 up very easily, okay? And then what would happen? Well, then that's only 2. 1, 2. Markets don't move in 2. They move in 3s and 5s. So what would be the move after that? It would either be 5 or 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3. And what we would have, ladies and gentlemen, is a bigger 3-wave move, right? Here's our 3-wave move here. But it could be only 1/3 of the way done, right? And we could actually have a more complex wave. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but how do we know if it is going to happen? Well, it's very simple. It all comes down to the retracement levels at the end of the day. So, yeah, so if this is 3 down and this is 3 up, I mean, you can actually come up and break the high here, right? And then come down for a running flat and then go up, right? So the retracement levels do have a lot to do with it, but also the wave structure, right? So if we get a nice solid move to the upside, then the question becomes, what happens after that? Do we flag out, right? Do we get an ABC, or do we impulse down like it's correcting again to the downside? That'll kind of tell us if it's going to be more complex, right? But I'm not gonna say that's the case. I'm gonna say it's done. Yep, it's done. I think it's finished. Um, I didn't want to put out a video as we were going down. I wanted to put a video out yesterday. I just didn't get to it, but we broke the low. We wicked back to the upside, and remember what I said, right? We had this move here, and what did I say? I want to flatten out, and that's what we're doing. We have great oscillation. We have terrific wave structure, right? We're not getting none of this crap, right? None of this crap, none of this crap, none of this crap, right? We're actually flagging out, guys. I mean, I haven't seen a correction like this in a long time. I was getting a little bit worried because of this wave right here. I'm like, I don't like that so much, just because of the way it looked, right? It's all about wave structure and basically having the right look. So I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing so far. We're not out of the woods yet, but this kind of tells me, if we're getting a three-wave move and there's nice oscillation, right, and it's got that flaggy look, and then to top it off, you have an impulse, right? I mean, let's look for a three-way pullback and let's go. I mean, that's the way I see it. Now, if we don't get a three-way pullback and we get something like this or something like that, right, and it kind of comes down rather quick, well, then I'm going to be looking for divergences in here, right? Maybe we're going to get another correction. But there's no sense of talking about it, right? Because we're right back at this resistance area. So let's see what happens. I really want to see a three-wave pullback and then a continuation to the upside. So, this structure has been one hell of a ride. I mean, you have been along this journey with me throughout this whole thing, and you know what? When it first started, you never thought it could get that big, but actually, when you're talking about the macro structure, right? It doesn't look that big actually, but it feels like it's been a long time. So the ultimate idea here is that this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, this is a wave 3, right? And this is a wave 4, and we should get that wave 5. That has been my main idea, my main thesis for a while. I don't even know how long. So actually, I tell you right now, it's actually been almost 1 year since I started my YouTube channel, really sort of religiously. I think it was actually in October, November. But yeah, it's been one hell of a ride, and I think things are looking a lot better than they were before. So, and I'm going to talk about those things, especially with the altcoins. The altcoins, I have a little bit of a heartbreak story in regards to the altcoins. Man, yeah, that was a tough one, and I'll tell you about that. So, remember Axelar? Remember Axelar? I said I really like Axelar. I was looking at it for a while, at least for a week on my channel. And I'm like, I like the way it looks. I like the wave structure. And then, you know what? I was looking at this here. I mean, look at that. That is a beautiful breakout. But where's the bad news come in? Well, we had this move to the upside, right? I don't even know if you would call it a 5-wave move. 1, 2, I mean, maybe It's not ideal. It looks more like a 1-2, 1-2, right? But what I was looking at for Axelar, I mean, I was hunting on this thing for a while, and again, I was showing it in all my videos. I was waiting, and I was liking this three-wave move, and you know what? I had my orders filled, but you know what? Friday night, there's a lot of low volume, and I woke up the next morning and I'm like, yes, it broke out, right? It broke out. But the problem was it didn't fill my order. I'm like, what the heck? No, no. I mean, that would have been a great trade. That would have been an amazing trade. I mean, you know what? That's one of the problems with altcoins that are relatively low market cap, is because there's not a lot of people trading them, and there's not a lot of liquidity, right? So it didn't fill my order, right? And that's a big reason, uh, you know, why things happen, right? I mean, that was a 45, what is that? Almost a 50% move, right? And I think I had about a 5 or 6x on that. So multiply 50% by 6, and that's the percentage I was looking at. Man, that was a tough one. But you know what? It sucks, right? Because I was also looking for, as we were basing out here, I was thinking this is going to be, because we didn't break the low, right? A, B, C. You want to A, B, C, right? You want to break the low. So I was thinking, well, we probably still could, but I want to come up here and then have like a little bit of a more complex B wave. So A, and then 1, 2, 3, B, and then come down for C. That's kind of what I was thinking at the time. But wow, that was a move right there. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that. So, what does this have to do with anything? Well, when you look at Axelar, and I'm gonna jump to XRP, I'm gonna jump into Bitcoin, but when you look at Axelar, I mean, this thing looks like it's primed, right? So obviously we have an impulse here, right? We have a pullback, and now we're building a base, and now we're breaking that base, right? So I want to see a little bit of a flagging out process here, right? Because I kind of look at it in a Wyckoff perspective, right? And when we look at Wyckoff, right, it basically looks like this, where you have, I mean, you can say it right here, boom, 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 and then you kind of curl around here, and then you break out, and then you kind of play around a little bit, right? Maybe that playing around was already here. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, but I want to see a flag out, and I want to see a breakout. Okay, that's what I'm looking at for Axelar. But let's move on to, let's go back to Bitcoin for a moment, and let me just tell you my thoughts, and then we'll get to the altcoins. So the main idea here is, obviously this is a fourth wave. So what would be the count, right? Well, again, we're not out of the woods yet, right? I mean, this thing could still surprise us. So one of the counts is we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then we have 5 down, okay? That was a 5-wave move, and that's a 1, 2, and this is a 1, 2, and we're about to rip to the upside. Doesn't mean today or tomorrow or even next week, but gradually, maybe it might take a month, maybe it might take a little longer than that, but ultimately that's what we would be looking for. So that's idea number 1 for the bulls. Idea number 2 for the bulls is the same thing, except it's more kind of like a WXY, right? So you have 3 there, you have 3 there, and you have 1, 2, 3 there, right? And it's over, and this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, and we're about to go. So that's one way we can look at it. Another way is the same thing, right? We have 3 down, we have 3 up, but the 3 back down isn't finished yet. So we have 1, all of this is 2, and now we're going to get 3. It's a little bit big for me, but it's still valid, right? So 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down. You break the low, you grab all that liquidity because everybody's stop loss is right here. So you take that out, all that liquidity rushes in, right? Market makers absorb the supply while everybody kind of forfeits their Bitcoin. And then what do you have? You have a W, X, Y. There's your 3-wave move right there. Now, to the untrained eye, when you look at that, you don't see 3. It just looks like a sloppy mess, right? People just look at it like, okay, it's, it's flagging out. We're going back and forth. That, they see the oscillation. But what you really have is a 1, 2, 3-wave move, right? So if that's the bear idea, right? So yeah, so we come down here, we grab the liquidity, and we go, and that would be our 4th wave, a 3-wave pullback. So that's still on the table. We'll find out soon enough. How would we know if that's the case? Well, it's going to really come down to what happens in this 3-wave move. If we can get through the retracement levels, or does this have to get more complex, right? Like a bigger 3-wave move. But, really the thing is if we break below that 57K, 58K area, right? That's going to be the big signal, right? And if we break through it, it's going to be okay. But if we come back up and we test it as resistance and we can continue going down, then you're going to figure out, okay, it's probably got to do that bigger correction. And the alternative to that is that this is not even a 5th wave or a 4th wave. This is a topping structure, and we're going to go down into reaccumulation and then go up later on. So, for the example, I've shared this before, but if you're new, I'm kind of looking at it as a rise, a crash, a retrace, and then you go down into reaccumulation, you go sideways, you go down into reaccumulation, you go sideways, and then you break out, right? So it could be a running flat, something like that. So just as this is a running flat here, I believe if the B wave has to go up at least 90% for it to qualify as a flat, I believe that's the case. So anyways, that's Bitcoin for us. And real quick at the small time frames here, let's look at the 10-minute chart. Yeah, okay, look at that's beautiful there. So actually let's bump it up to the 30-minute chart here. So what we have is a 1, 2, right? We have 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's your A, as we talked about, and then we came up 1, 2, 3. That's our B, and this is exactly where the last video was, right in there, our B wave, right? And then what we have is it looks like to me sort of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would be our C wave. So yeah, so we have A, B, C. Perfect. And so we have a 3-wave move that took the low, right? You grab that liquidity because people's stop loss was here. It came down, 5 waves, broke the low. Perfect opportunity. And then what happened? And then when you look here, we have our impulse off the low. So we have a 1, 2, we have a 3, we have a 4, and we have a 5. So what happens next? Well, again, this is probably going to come down A, B, C, something like that. It doesn't have to be that big, but basically you have an impulse and you want to flag out, right? And where would you land? Well, you would land approximately, there's 2 ways you can look at it. Obviously support and resistance, and then Fibonacci level. I like to have correlation. So look at that. The 618 line and the 50 lines up exactly where I would imagine this thing has a potential to pull back, which is right in this zone here. So if we just drag it out a little bit, look at that, beautiful, right between the 618 and the 50. So between 60 and a half to 61.1K. So yeah, I think that's our spot there. So let's get 5 waves down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get 3 back up, and let's get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back down. A, B, C. And then we want to see what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 off the low. And then we want to see an ABC pullback, and that's where I would long it right there. And then let's go. But you got to be paying attention. It can't be like at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're asleep. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened to me the last couple times, honestly, where you missed it. I mean, you set your orders, right? But a lot of times, either it kind of misses it by a few dollars, or it doesn't get filled, like the one with Axelar, or you kind of get stopped out, right? But for most people, they're buyers, they're hodlers, they're investors. They buy it, they hold it, right? There's no what if, ands, or buts about it, right? Especially when you buy like on an exchange, kind of like Coinbase or something, where it's going to take your order, right? Because you're buying at a spot position, right? So as a hodler, as an investor, I mean, those are great buys, especially for the longer term macro swing that we're all projecting, that's going to come, right? And this is not financial advice, but I believe that's what's happening. Now, does that mean, obviously we're going to be at 100K, right? $100,000 Bitcoin is coming. The question is, do we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Do we have a more complex third wave? Or do we have to go down into reaccumulation? But either way, it's coming. The difference is how long does it take, right? So there's, it's coming. It's just a matter of when, right? When moon, the infamous question, when moon? Well, that's just the way it is. So for me, if it takes longer, if it takes not so long, whatever the case may be, I'm a buyer. I'm a hodler, I'm an investor, because crypto, in my opinion, is one of the greatest investments of mankind because of what it is. I mean, people look at it as a coin. It's software. I mean, that's what it really is, right? It's a technology, and it's going to revolutionize the way we do finance, right? The financial banking system is is the biggest thing in our financial system. And if crypto can revolutionize the way we use it, then it's going to put a big dent in the universe. And it doesn't matter if we have to go into reaccumulation or even another bear market, like whatever. I mean, this is, I mean, if you're looking like 6 months ahead or a year, a lot of times it kind of builds that resentment towards the market, towards the chart, towards the price, right? Because you got to really be looking 5, 10, 15 years down the line. I know that is inconceivable, but as a long-term hodler investor, that's what you look for, right? Now, do I think it's going to take that long? Absolutely not. I think it's going to happen within the next 12 months, honestly, because I believe Trump's going to be president. I believe Gary Gensler is going to be fired. I believe we're going to get a whole new SEC. I think optimism is going to return back to the crypto market. I know Donald Trump's son and even himself starting a DeFi platform. Now, nobody knows more intelligence than the president. I wouldn't probably say that, but as far as knowing what's going on. I mean, you talk about insider trading. I mean, that's kind of, it doesn't get any more clear than that. I mean, he's basically letting DeFi is the future. Otherwise, why would we even attempt to do this? So, and that's just one little tiny thing. I mean, you add up all the other stuff. Like, for example, Elon Musk said he wants to turn X into a financial platform right? Or even a bank. I don't know how that's going to work, but there's a lot to look forward to. I think the big hurdle is just getting through this election. And I think that's what the market's waiting for, is what's going to happen with this, right? But if the worst comes to worst and the deep state steals the election like they did before, I think it could cause some chaos and some, probably that would be either a bigger fourth wave or going down under reaccumulation before ultimately going higher. So we just gotta we gotta remain cautious here. But so far, it's looking very nice. And for example, you can see how we came up, right, and then you slammed down. You had that big red candle, right? But look what happened after that. You flip green, you flip red, and then you flip back green again. That tells me that support is strong at that 60,000 level, which means what? Well, if you can't go down, then what happens? You go up, right? So the market is always searching for liquidity. That's just the way it goes. All right, so let's go to the altcoins, and I'm going to start with CRV for a moment here. So when I look at CRV, bear with me here. I told myself with Axelar, I'm not going to miss another one. I'm not going to miss another monumental move, and I think that could happen with CRV. The reason why is because I'm seeing something very interesting in CRV, right? And ignore this. Don't look at that right now. I'm going to bring that up later. So what I have here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's clear as day. And then what I have is an ABC. I mean, I really like that ABC. I wish it would have went a little bit lower, but you know, you know what? It's okay. Yeah, it's not confirmed yet, but we have a wave 1 and an ABC. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, that's perfect, right? And now we're starting to build a base here, right? And this base right here is, I think, Wyckoff, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking here for CRV is a wave 1, and now we're in a wave 2, and hopefully we can see that wave 3 soon. Now, when we zoom out a little bit, and this is the I think this is the futures chart, and that's okay. What I was saying is, for example, right, you come down and you build a base, but when you look at a base, right, and you have a high, a lower high, a lower high, that's in the shape of a descending triangle, right? So if you take the measured move, and I'm just kind of ballparking it, it's not going to be perfect, right? If I take that measured move and I put it right about there, I mean, we still haven't even really hit it, right? I mean, but here's the thing. If I turn this to log scale, right, it actually becomes worse. But here's what I like. Ready? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you actually came up in a 6 and you rolled down for 7. We have a completed crashing structure here, right, with a 5-wave impulse, with a 3-wave pullback. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I think CRV is one of those things that were very, very oversold. Now, I'm not sure about, you know, the developers and you know, all that stuff, but I'm really liking the structure right here, right? So, for example, we have a low, a lower low, but then we have a higher low. And that, my friends, could be an inverse head and shoulders, right? Or even potentially a Wyckoff if this wants to continue down and then do something like that. But what I'm going to show you now on the smaller time frames, and I wouldn't skip this part because this is interesting. So we could be having potentially a Wyckoff situation going here. So Obviously, we have this move, three-wave move up, right? Come back down, come back up, right? And then you have the spring phase that you grab the liquidity, right? So right there is your spring, you grab that liquidity, right? Then you come up, right? And then you kind of, build a little bit of a triangle, and then you break out. So kind of like what's going on here. Now I would like it to get a little bit higher than that. There's a couple ways. This could be, sort of a wave one, an A, B, C, or even the B wave's not finished. We got to come down for C and then come up and then play around and go. So it still needs some work. Definitely needs some work. But that's kind of how I'm looking at it at the moment. Now, is there a chance we can break to the downside? Yeah, it's possible because, let's see if I bump this up to the 4-hour chart here. I got 5 waves, right? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I have 5 waves. Obviously I have 5 waves here. I got a 3-wave move there, and I got 5 here. Okay, perfect. So I got a little bit of an impulse, and we're sort of flagging out in here. So let's see what this week coming up brings, right? If October is going to be a thing, it really needs to get started fairly soon. Because crypto can move up 20% in a matter of a day, or even 40-50% in a matter of a couple days. So it doesn't take that long. I mean, we can go down all October, and then the last few days of the month could just take it all back, right? So let's zoom in to the 30. So, or actually, let's go a little bit 7-minute chart. I mean, look, I just don't really like that wave so much. It looks like a 1, 2, potentially a 3, 4, and 5. I mean, you could say it's a 5-wave move. I mean, it looks okay. So if that's the case, right, then what is going on over here, right? We have this, and then we have this. I mean, this kind of looks like a running flat. But if that's the case, then we have this 3-wave move and then a drop. So it can't be a running flat, right? So what is it? Well, it kind of gives me that head and shoulders look to it. You see that? You got a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. So this thing looks very corrective. So to me, it seems like this is A, this is B, and now this is a 1, or actually, yeah, it could be a 3-wave move down like this. So actually we could see a W, X, and a Y. So there's your wave 1, boom, 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 and then go. Right? So somewhere down in that 25, that lower 25-cent area. So we'll see. All right, let's look at theta now. I know you guys been waiting for this. Wow, look at theta. Look at that. Look at that theta. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. I mean, it might not even be done yet, right? I mean, when you have a wave 1 that looks like that, you know it's going to be interesting, right? So wave 1, 2. This whole thing could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, right? All of this is 3. We have a 3-way pullback for a wave 4, and then we get wave 5. So it might not even be done yet, right? But let's just say it is done. Then what would it be? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we have 3 down. It looks a little small. So I would say 3 up and then maybe 3 down. So a little bit bigger of a 3-wave move, right? Proportional to this move here, right? You want to flag out and then continue higher. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for the price of theta. We'll see how that plays out. But let's zoom out here and get a better idea of what we're looking at. So just a little recap of what's been going on. So first of all, remember, we broke above the downward resistance line, right? We broke above it and we came, and when we were up there, I said there's a chance we could come all the way down and retest it. And we did. We came all the way down and we back tested twice. Once, twice, right there. So, that's a good thing. Because usually what happens, right, is you break, hook, go. I mean, that's typically how you play it, right? So, another thing is we came back down to our base, right? We stick our head up, come back down to the base. Stick your head up, come back down to the base, right? And what you're doing is you're building a much bigger base, right? And basically this is accumulation before we head into the retracement. So is that what's happening? Well, I just don't really like how shallow this B wave is. So there's definitely some problems with it. Let's zoom in here. For example, like, I just don't like how shallow this B wave went down, right? And this A wave is. So it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we come up. So you would, at first glance, you look at it and you say A, right? We come up B, right? And then we come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and C. But it's just not proportional. It just doesn't look proportional to me. I mean, it could be valid. It could be, it is what it is, right? So another way we can look at it is say, well, maybe this is a flat. So this is an A, right? And this is 1, 2, 3. This is a B, right? It's a flat. And now we're going to come down for C, right? And then at that case, we would basically be coming back down to this zone here. And remember what I said, right? When we were back here, back in mid-September, I said there's a possibility that this could be a Wyckoff. Now, when we broke the top, I said it was less likely, right? But now, obviously, I mean, that's kind of what it's looking like. So here's the Wyckoff example here. And, we could be doing something like in phase C, right? So obviously we have this three-wave move up, right? Three-wave move up, we come down, come back down. It's not perfect, right? And then we come back up, and then you sort of make this sort of cupping pattern here, and then you A, B, C, right? And then you start making your way back up, and then you kind of play around a little bit and then go. So that would be right there. So yeah, I'm thinking this could be what we're doing right now. We're just gonna have to wait and see. So that's kind of where I'm at on the price of theta. It's looking a little bit toppy here. So I think, again, we need a little bit of a pullback. But what I'm going to be looking for is, here's what it comes down to, right? If this is going to be a more complex B wave and then come down, okay, then so be it. But the way we're going to know that is how this wave gets corrected. Do we have a nice ABC where we're flagging out, right? Then that's going to be bullish. But if we sort of, start impulsing down, right? If we start impulsing down, come up, reset, impulse down, reset, impulse down, then it's going to look like, okay, it's not finished, and this is just a B wave, and we're still needing to correct. So that's kind of what I have here for theta. Now, despite all of that, I think when we zoom out a little bit here, the main thing is what's going on overall on the macro front. Well, I think, and I've said it since we've been down here, all throughout here, is we need a retracement, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then you have 5, and then you roll up in wave 6, and then you come down in wave 7. That's a completed 7-wave crashing structure, right? And now we're starting to, now you have this 3-wave move here. We could get another 3-wave move down, just like that. Boom, boom, boom. It creates that Wyckoff pattern, right? And then you break out, right? You get back up to about $1.90, and then you kind of flag out a little bit, and then you come up, hit the high, and then you make it to the retracement levels. And then from there, that's going to be the challenging spot, because now how does the price react? Do we get out of here? Do we have to go down into reaccumulation and then go later on? I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. So, but all in all, let's just focus on one thing at a time. And on the macro front, I'm looking at a retracement at least $1.90. $1.90 has been my target for a while, since we bottomed out here, right? And you can see I put this right about there, right? You could see this gap in here, right there. There's a gap right there, right? You can see not a lot of trading history there, not a lot of trading history there. So at some point, I think it's going to come up and fill it. And then that'll most likely be the spot, once we get up here, that's where we flag out. And then hopefully we can get a big break that pushes us further, right? And then continue, right? So all in all, very bullish on theta, at least for a retracement, right? And then when you look at it completely zoomed out, this could be, the beginning. Let's see if I have that chart here, right there. Let's go to the weekly chart, or even yeah. So you build your base, monster move, right? You have a wave 1, you pull back into a wave 2, right? You break out, and sort of a miniature retracement. I mean, you got up there about 50%, right? If you take the top of the wave and you go all the way down to the bottom, right? And then you take this line and you cut it in half, that's exactly where we went to, right? And that's usually what I say is you basically take the whole wave, you cut it in half. For example, you take this whole wave here and you cut this wave in half, that's right where we went to, right? That's exactly the spot we went to, is about that halfway mark, right? So what I was trying to say is, you came up, you had a retracement, now we're pulling back. I sense we're kind of going sideways a little bit, maybe for some reaccumulation. So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then breakout, right? So yeah, I think that's ultimately what we're seeing here. Now, could it be possible that this is an A, this is a B, and now we're going to get C? I mean, that would be very bad. But you know what? I guess anything is possible. But even if that is the case, we're going to want to see a bigger retrace first before we go down, right? And it would probably look like something like that. So wave 1, A, B, C, build a base, go. But that would take a long time, and then hopefully we don't have to go through that route. But anyways, all in all, I'm looking at $1.90 to $2, even up to $3 as a retracement for this wave. And then if we can break through that, then you know what, 5, 6, 7, or I would actually say between $7 and $8 is the next step, somewhere in this zone. So that would be between that $4, $5 area all the way up to $10. So just say between $5 and $10, right? That's the zone that is next on the list, right? Because you can see we came up and we hit the bottom of it, we pulled back, and we reset ourselves at the base. Why did we do that? So that we can reset our momentum, because we're going up, 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 up. We lose momentum, and then we have to come down slow, right? So we went up faster than we did coming down, which is a good thing. It's all about, you know, the speed, right? So we go up really fast, and then we take a long time going down. That's how you know it's bullish, versus going up very slow and then coming down very fast, right? So once we get there, then we make our way back up to the retracement levels, maybe flag out a bit, and then eventually get back to here. And then from there, I'd imagine we play around a little bit and then break out. And you have the sell side of the curve, right? There's your curve right there. Sell side, bottom, and then you have your buy side of the curve, right? So that's kind of what we're expecting here. So yeah, there we go. There's theta right there. Let's look around here. Ethereum. You know, it just kind of looks bearish. It just looks corrective to me. Like, I mean, this could be an ABC, and then you have a 1, 2, you have a 1, 2, and then you have another 1, 2. I mean, if that's the case, that's extremely bullish, right? Extremely bullish. You have a little bit of a base there. You broke out, and you had an ABC, and now you're back testing it. So if we can build a base on top of this base, and then get a 5-way move, a 3-way pullback, I'm going to be looking at all-time highs. So, and then you can kind of see a shoulder, you have a head, and then let's get this shoulder going on here, right? And the measured move of that would be approximately, what is that? Wow, 15K. I don't know if it's going to go that high. I mean, it could. Let's see, if I put the retracement on, 1618. Let's actually go to, is this on log scale? Yeah, okay, that's why. I was thinking more like, let's see, the all-time high of ETH is almost 5,000. So I'm thinking around between 8 and 10,000. Right? And if you really want to hit it big, maybe 15. So that's what I'm thinking on ETH. But here's what I really wanted to show you is Zcash, and I'm going to show you why this is very important. Now look at this. Watch. So Zcash is kind of ahead of the game here. So look at this. I'm going to show you something real interesting. Now watch this. This is why I'm very bullish. I'm supposed to show you this first and then theta. Look. So we had this big move down, right? And then you had this shallow retracement. You came down. You took the low, right? But look what happened after that. You blasted off like a madman, right? Okay, so when we go to theta, or let's look at theta fuel then. Look at theta fuel. It's the same kind of look, right? So you hit the low, right? You had a very shallow retracement. You came down. You took the low right here, right? And then what happens? You get up here, you flag out a little bit, and then you hit the high. So we're still thinking up here, right? Let's see, real fast, theta, here we go. Yeah, same kind of look. Same type of look, right? So let's actually go back to Zcash for a second. So if you look at Zcash, look where we stalled out at. Right there. Right? So just look at that for a minute. Boom, a long way down, a short retrace, and then a very small C wave. An impulse, you flag out, and then you pop the high. Okay, so we remember that. Now look what's going on. Now look where we're at, guys. Look where we're at. Look where we're flagging out. See, that's why I like kind of looking around at other charts, because Zcash is actually telling a story. It actually moved first, right? So we can kind of get an idea of what Theta is going to do. So what did Zcash do? Well, Zcash, same thing, shallow retracement, took the low, barely took the low, and then what did it do? It had an impulse, and then what did it do? In the same exact spot, what did it do? It flagged out in here, guys. So that's what we want to look for. So once it's done flagging out, what's going to happen next? Well, according to Zcash, we should get a big pump to the upside, going back to about $1.45 or so. So yeah, I think that's a plausible idea. So let's go back to Zcash real fast. Yeah, so we flagged out right sort of in this zone, this cluster right in here, before breaking out. So we go back to Theta. That's exactly where we are. We're sort of flagging out in that same kind of zone right in there. So let's see an ABC and let's hit the high, guys. That's a very solid idea, I think. So anyways, let's move on. Now, if I didn't have Zcash as a roadmap, I wouldn't think that, because it was such a shallow retracement. But we'll see if it plays out that way. So XRP it's kind of been womp womp womp. It's just very man, it just takes forever. And it's the SEC and the appeal, and it's just they're doing the runaround. And I think when you have an asset like XRP and the position Ripple is in, right? You basically become a big target, right? Because you're the ultimate threat to a new sort of financial type of system, right? And that's why there's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of fight over what is it going to be. And I think Ripple's in that spot, and a lot of people don't like that. And I'm talking about the deep state. And I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just the way I feel, right? So anyways, but as far as the price goes, I'm still looking at it as a flat, and it's still bullish, by the way. I'm not throwing in the towel, not even close. Why? Because we have a 5-wave move. Boom. There's your wave 1. You have a 3-wave pullback, right? And then you have 1, 2, 3 waves up, right? And now what do you have? You have this move back down, right? So you have 1, 2, 3. This is a flat. Now, it doesn't mean it's finished. We could come rolling down to 47 cents, right? And that's kind of where I left off the last video, is if this is going to be a 4th wave. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we have 4, and then we get 5, and then we get divergence, and then we go into a retracement, right? And what you have, again, let's do this. We have an A, B, C, and that's a flat. Perfect. So wave 1, wave 2, and then we go. Look how monsterish that wave is, right? So that's kind of what, I mean, there's not really much to say on XRP right now, right? And the big thing is trying to break this zone we've been in for forever, right? I mean, holding XRP probably wouldn't be the best idea, going back years, right? Back in 2020, 2022. But now, since we've been in it so long, you kind of feel obligated to just stick with it because, XRP is my number one holding, and it will continue to do so, because I feel like it is in a position like no other. So first of all, we're flagging out in here, right? And this flag is corrective, right? So if you're going down and you're correcting to the downside, usually that means you're going to break to the upside, right? So that's what happens. So if you look at this, we have a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. That's a 3-wave move. Okay, so you could say that's A. And then what do we have? We have 1, and then we have 2, and then we have 3. So we have another 3-wave move. Boom, boom, boom. You could say that's B, right? And then what do we have? Well, this is undeniably a 5-wave move. We have an impulse. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be a C wave, right? So now we're flagging out here in wave C. So we're flagging out within a bigger flag, right? So if that's a wave 1 and this is a wave 2, then what do we expect? Well, once this flat, like I said before, is finished, let me see if I can clear this up a little bit here. So this flat, right? Let's just do this. Boom, boom, boom. There's your 3-wave move right there. So once that's finished, I'm looking for an impulse to the upside that can get us past $1, or maybe about that dollar area, that 98-cent, maybe dollar, even up to $1.10. I don't know. Now I can do some fib retracements in a minute, but that's what I'm looking at, right? And if we can get a 5-wave move, then that will be amazing, because you're looking at this as boom, boom, and then we go up. So that's 3. And then 3 can always turn into 5 later on, and that's what I'm betting. I'm betting that this 3 is going to flag out for a 4, and then we're going to get a 5. And then you can even look at it as a 1, 2, 1, 2, or even a diag at that point. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking here. So as far as targets go, well, if we zoom in, let's go to the 4-hour. I'll take a trend-based fib extension from the top. I'm going to take it to the top of this one here, and then I'm going to bring it all the way down to the bottom of that wave there. And I got to make sure this is not in log scale. Okay, so right off the bat, the 1618 at 84 cents. I think even that would be a little bit shallow for this type of how big it is. I would say 84 to $1.10. So you kind of average it out, I would say about $1. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, and that's exactly what I just said earlier, as $1. So, I mean, heck, it can even hit a 4.236 if it wanted to. 1, 2, if a correction is very big, right, then that usually means there's going to be a big wave coming out of it. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, the whole thing with the SEC appeal, I mean, it could be a death blow to Ripple and XRP for the next 2 years. I don't know. Or it could be ignored. And I think it will be ignored because Trump's going to fire Gary. And I think there's going to be an administration there that actually wants to do positive work with crypto and do the right thing. So, but as far as that goes, I'm pretty confident in that. Now, when we look at the small time frames, like let's go to the 30-minute chart. By the way, I'm going to hit that hour mark. If you can hit that like button, that's always appreciative. So what I see here is very messy. It seems like this is 3. It seems like this is going to be 3. So we have 3 up. It looks like we're going to get 3 down. We're going to take the low and then go up in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I'm expecting a retracement here if it's not a fourth wave, right? If it's not a fourth wave, for example, let's just do this. Idea number 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You break the low, you get divergence, you go, right? That's idea number 1. Doesn't mean it's my favorite idea. Idea number 2 is that the low is in, and this is 3 up, 3 down, and then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and we get back to this area up here, that 60-cent area that we've been at for so long, that we've taken so long to recoup that, only to get knocked right below it. And then from there, we're at the retracement levels. We just kind of reevaluate. Maybe we go up, maybe we go into reaccumulation. Just depends. So that's idea number 2. Idea number 3, this could be maybe a Wyckoff here. Boom, boom, boom. Then we come down. And then we go up. When in reality, it's the same thing. It's a 3-way move, right? Same thing. Is there any idea that says that we don't have to go back down to the lows or break the lows? Well, I mean, it is a possibility that it could be a diagonal here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have this sort of, I don't even like it as a 3-way move. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It just seems like this would be 3. Or actually, this is 3. And this is 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So we have 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down. So it's kind of like a flat. And then come back up. So that would be a wave 1. This would be boom, boom, boom. That would be a wave 2. We're actually holding the low here. And a target for that would be approximately 53 cents. 53.01, 52.81. Somewhere around that area. In this 618 area. So that would kind of look like this. We get down in here and then we go. So again, 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 back down, and then go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, go. So anyway, that's just the way, it kind of goes. So other than that, there's one thing I want to show you, which is still this. I'm still looking at this fractal. Right? And it basically is kind of like the Wyckoff, right? Now, when you look at it to where we are now, that's kind of what we're looking at here. So, right, we had this 3-way move back up, and then we had 3 down, and then we blasted off. So 3, 3, 5, right? So if we translate that to, something like an altcoin, right? It doesn't matter. You could pick whatever altcoin you want. Then what that would be? Well, there's 2 options. One, we come up, we take the high, and then we have an A, B, C. We drag a little bit out, and then we go up. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is that this is an A, this is a B, and then we have kind of a long kind of C, and then we go. So those are the two options I'm looking at. Now you can translate that. Let's go to theta for a minute. Or even total 3. By the way, if you look at total 3, we broke out, we back tested, and now we're continuing higher, right? So if we just get rid of that for a minute, we could say A, B, right? And then we kind of drag out for C, and then we go. So that would be the translation of that fractal. Another one would be, let's look at theta for a minute, and let's see, and I think I've done this before, is, oh yeah, okay. So, perfect. So we have, remember what we have, right? We're up here, we pull back, hit a B wave, and then come down for C. Or here's an even better sort of example, right? I mean, you can even see it with XRP too. You got that ABC, right? So the example here is 1, 2, 3, right? And then we have ABC. Okay, so let's look at theta. So here's theta. So what would the translation be? Okay, so we have an A, right? We come up into a B. Now, here's the thing. The B wave can take the top, but it doesn't have to. I think since theta already took this top, I mean, we might not have to. And I'd actually prefer it not to take the top, right? If you take the top, it's, you know, it becomes, it could be a flat, which is okay, but it just takes longer. So what it would like is this to come up into a retracement, like I was saying earlier, and then we kind of drizzle down into a C wave, right? Taking the low, and then shooting up, playing around, and then just going, right? Getting back up into the retracement levels. And that would kind of complete. And now when we look at that, this is also Wyckoff, like we were just saying. Boom, boom, boom. And then you kind of cup around, and then you play around and go. But that cup is in that 3-wave shape. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Which means we're going to go up in October, and then probably down November. And then once we hit December, we could start moving back higher. And that would kind of make sense according to the election, you know. So I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to show. Fetch, it would kind of be A, B, C, go. Right? ICP, it would be A, B, C, go. Right? I'm just kind of giving you an idea. For engine, it would be retracement, C wave, go. Something like that. Where you actually have that Wyckoff there. Right? So for Solana, you know what? Wow, Solana actually looks good, guys. I'm not going to lie. It actually looks pretty decent right now. You could see very clearly you have 3 down, right? You have 3 up, and then you have 1, 2, 3 down. W, X, Y. And then you have this wave here, right? So if it actually comes up, then it's going to look like a 3-wave move. So I don't know. I'm just, I mean, I like what's going on now, but according to the translation, it would be something like that. Shoulder, hedge, you know. I don't know. It's a little bit debatable. Ethereum Classic looks kind of nice and steady. Remember the Dogecoin fractal I shared with Ethereum Classic? You know, but the one that really hurts me is Axelar, right? So I'll show you that in a second. But CRV, it could be a triple, it could be W, X, Y, X, Z. We could be doing something like that for CRV, according to that fractal translation. Now, when you're trying to get a read on XRP, you can look at XLM. It's the same kind of thing. You have an A, right? You have this B, and it looks like here's C, but it doesn't look finished. So it's still kind of up for debate here. For SHIB, it looks like it needs to come up and retrace and then come back down and then go. So like a three-way move like that. Or just sort of flagging out here on top. Now, if that fractal isn't going to play, then this thing could be finished, right? This could be, we could start really accelerating, you know, when we can hit the high, right? And then we can actually drag out later before going up. So it actually takes the top. Remember I said earlier, it could take the top. But anyways, let me just show you one more coin. So if I was going to get into Axelar, which I'm not in, I was kind of micro trading it, you know, back in here, but not a really holding position, then I want to see this thing flagging out in here. I want to see a three-way move that back test the top of here, and then I could get in, right? Because I was totally getting in right there, and it just didn't fill my position. I was so like, man, that would have been perfect. But, you know, it is what it is. For Matic, it just kind of looks a little bit depressing right now. It needs a little bit more work. Another one I'm really looking at, remember the two coins I was looking at was THETA and Axelar. Those were the two, and both of them did okay. Axelar did a lot better. But for THETA, you know, you have this impulse here, and you could say A, B, C, it's finished. But I would actually say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is A. Now this could be a B wave that gets a little bit higher, and then we come down for a C. But the C wave doesn't have to take the low if it becomes a flat. Like if it goes up more than 90% of this wave, it could get something like that, like a running flat, right? So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna definitely get a members video out sometime within the next few days. So stay on the lookout for that. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.